Hello everybody, we're back for our second live presentation. I'm Tammy. I'm an instructor here at KTI English Preparation Center in Edmonton, Alberta, and this is our second live English lesson. So today we're going to talk about what are determiners and how do I use them, okay? Learning English, yes, we talked about this before. It's not easy. It's not simple. Everybody's told us that. It's not a piece of cake, which is an idiom or an expression we use for it's not easy. It's also not a walk in the park, another idiom for not easy. But we can do this together. You're on this, watching this video on this site, trying to learn more. So you've taken the first step. Let's do this together. So we'll give you a little information today. We're going to talk about when we hear native speakers say an, the. They say them all the time, but you don't know when to use them. It's confusing. Some of the rules break, some of them don't, right? So let's again take one step at a time, okay? We're going to learn a little bit each day. And we're going to try to listen to English language speakers wherever we can. As we mentioned last week, practice makes progress, right? We got to practice. You can't expect to just absorb it. We got to practice it. So let's listen and learn a little bit today and then keep practicing, okay? So in English, we have determiners. They're these little words that come before a noun or a noun phrase. So it gives more details like how many of the noun or how close that noun is or who it belongs to, okay? Some languages don't use determiners as much as English does. Now remember, a noun is that person, place, thing, or idea. Like a person, for example, girl, a place, a city, a thing, a dog, a book, a computer, an idea, love, friendship, that kind of thing, right? In English, we must have a determiner for singular nouns. So nouns meaning one girl, one computer, one dog. We have to have a determiner there to give more information to your listener or your reader. Plural nouns can, but they don't always need a determiner. Now, I've got these great websites listed for you. Please take a look at them. I'm going to refer to Grammarly.com quite a few times because I use it personally. I use it for work, for all my academic writing, for all my report cards that I write for my students. All Grammarly I use, and I'm a native speaker. I'm a teacher, an instructor, so it's valuable for everybody. I'll talk about it a little bit more. So just an introduction, there's 4 types of determiners in English. We have the articles, a, an, the. I already hinted, those are the ones we're going to be looking at today. We also have quantifiers. They're the ones that number fits in this category too. They're the ones that tell us how many. So all of the books got knocked off the shelf or just 2 of them, right? So we can talk about quantifying as well. We also have the demonstratives, the ones this, that, these, those. It's more specific. So it's these books that fell off the shelf. Those books fell and scared us, right? The other ones, the other determiners, common ones we have are pronouns, which take the place of a noun, and possessives. So that gives us indication as to who that noun belongs to or who's using it, that kind of thing. So again, we're going to just do articles today. This is too much information all at once. We'll practice with the articles. Articles, a, an, the, sometimes you hear the, are the most commonly used determiners in the English language. You're going to hear them before nouns and noun phrases, so adjectives and nouns. In fact, sometimes we even call the determiners adjectives. They do the same thing as an adjective. They tell the listener or the reader which noun the speaker's talking about, and they give information about that noun. A and an are what we call indefinite articles. They're not referring to a specific noun. We're talking about in general. So a place, a store. That's just in general. We're not talking about a specific store. So examples. A dog or a dog is barking in a yard. I go out for a walk with my family after dinner and the kids say, oh, a dog is barking. They don't know which one. They're just saying they hear a dog barking and maybe in a yard. They don't know exactly where it's coming from. Another example, a cup of coffee starts a day off right. You may have heard this little phrase. This is just in general. A cup of coffee doesn't mean a mocha, doesn't mean a cappuccino, doesn't mean a latte. Just a cup of coffee starts a day off right. We're not talking about weekdays, work days, weekends. We're just talking about a day. We went to an art show in town. We're not saying specifically which one, just giving you a little bit of information. We went to an art show. I'll read this one because I've got, or else just go to display only. This one, you've heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I've got both determiners in there. Well, all three. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. So I'm not specifying which kind of apple. I'm not specifying this one's better, one is better than another, right? But you'll notice that I used an before the noun that starts with a vowel. A vowel sound in particular, okay? Day is the noun that starts with a consonant. It has a in front of it. The is more specific to say that that healthcare personnel is going to be not bothering you if you eat healthy, right? Okay. The is a definite article. We're talking about a specific person, a specific place, or a specific thing or idea. So these examples. Now, we're still on that walk with our kids or with our friends. And now we hear the kids say, the dog is barking. Or the dog is barking in the backyard. They know where that dog is. They know which yard it is. They can hear the difference. Or they're specifically saying, maybe it's our neighbor's dog, so the dog is barking, right? To start the day off right, you need a cup of coffee. Now, I've switched this one around on purpose. Because in this sentence, the way it's different than the first one on the previous slide, is this one is we're talking about the day right, probably right now. You were given a little bit more information to start the day off right. I might have been talking about my weekdays or my work days. To start the weekday right, I need a cup of coffee. Again, I'm not specifying which kind of cup of coffee, but I am saying more to the point of to start the weekday off, I need a cup of coffee. Or we went to the best restaurant in town, or the best restaurant in town. Now, from that sentence, you know as the listener, you're going to get some more information. Or you can ask, okay, which one was it? Because the person that is saying this or writing this is talking about one restaurant. They're not talking about all the restaurants in Edmonton or your city. They're talking about one, okay? Now, there's a lot of writing on here, I know. But generally, we don't use the before proper nouns that identify a person. Sometimes names, names of specific people don't need the, because we're already talking about a specific person. Their name includes that article in itself. If the name or proper noun identifies a thing or a place, the is used sometimes. Again, remember there's rule breakers, but it's not part of the name. So on the examples on the bottom here, I just covered them up. No, I didn't. Okay. My name is Tammy, but you don't refer to the Tammy. When you say my name, you're already talking about me specifically. Okay. So it's a definite person. We don't need the definite article with it. But when we talk about some places like United Kingdom, we say the United Kingdom, and that's just fine. You can say United Kingdom as well, United States, but often we say the United States or the United Kingdom. So let's practice. Okay, when speaking about singular nouns, again, single means one. For general countable nouns that are in the singular form, so things we can count, we use the indefinite article a or an. So example, do you want a piece of chicken? So I've got dinner on the table for my family, and I've got this whole pan of chicken legs, chicken thighs, chicken wings, and I ask my son, do you want a piece? Okay, I'm not saying which one. I'm just saying, do you want a piece of chicken? I ate a chocolate cookie yesterday, so I had one. I'm not telling you which one. It might not be the one that you were saving to eat later after work, but I ate a chocolate cookie, okay? I don't want to go to a movie. I'm just saying none in particular. I'm not saying no to that one and that one and that one. I'm just saying no to a movie. It's not something I want to do right now. Or Sam wrote an English test last week. Here's some other examples. A bottle, a history book, a UFO, a one-time event, a uniform, an apple, a European, an American, a Canadian. You'll notice a and an are in front of that one little rule about using a in front of consonants and an in front of vowels has an interpretation. I'm going to get to that, so hold on. Okay, when speaking about singular nouns but specific ones and countable and non-count nouns, we use the definitive article, the. So do you want the piece of chicken? So I might be, again, at the dinner table, I might be asking my son, there's one left, right? One left in the pan. Do you want the piece of chicken? The one that's left, right? I ate the chocolate cookie yesterday. That might be the one cookie that you wanted to eat after work. I ate that specific one. I don't want to go to the movie. So in this case, I'm talking about the one we were talking about earlier. If you were saying, do you want to go see the new Marvel comic? And I say, no, I don't want to go to the movie. It's that one I don't want to go to. Okay? Sam wrote the easiest English test last week. Okay? An example, that specific one he wrote was the easiest for him. Here's where we talk about non-count nouns, okay? So twice the trouble. Sometimes we talk about getting in trouble 1 or 2 or 3 times, but when we talk about trouble, it's not really measurable. We don't really count that. It's more of an idea. So we say twice the trouble. So anything that we don't really count, we don't know if it's plural or singular necessarily, we use the definitive article, the time. Of course, we can measure time. We can count minutes. We can count that. But when we say time, we're talking about a non-count thing that's not easy to count. The uniform, the apple, the European, the American, the Canadian, right? All using, now Canadian is one person in this case. American, one person in this case. We use the definitive. When we're talking about plural nouns, so any plural noun, we don't always have to use a determiner. So here's the examples. Do you want pieces of chicken? So when I first pull that pan of chicken out of the oven, I might just ask my son, do you want pieces? Or I might say some pieces of chicken. Some is a little bit of a determiner there, but do you want pieces of chicken with your supper? I ate chocolate cookies yesterday. So you know I ate more than one. I don't want to go to movies. I'm just saying in general, I don't want to go to movies. I don't want to go to 1 or 2 or 3. That's not what I want to do right now. Sam wrote English tests last week. Okay? So he wrote more than one, and it was last week. But we're not talking specific ones. And again, here's the non-count nouns. You can't count it, not countable. Or if it is countable, or if you can't count it, again, you don't need the article. So here's some examples. We've got this little saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, sticks and stones are plural forms of things, nouns. we don't need the or a or an in front of them. Well, a or an we couldn't use in front of sticks and stones anyway because it's plural. We moved furniture today. Furniture is plural. We could say a piece of furniture, meaning one, but furniture can mean the tables and chairs and beds and couches and everything that we have to move when we move houses. Sugar is sweet. Sugar, you can't count each little granule, each little grain of sweetness. So when we say sugar, we talk about the plural, all of the little granules. Smoking is bad for you. Smoking, not necessarily counting 1 cigarette, 2 cigarette, whatever, but the idea of smoking regularly is bad for you. Okay, so those are examples of plural nouns, things that we don't necessarily count, or we can, but they're plural. They don't need the article. But we can when we're talking about specific ones. We always put the in front of specific ones. Do you want the pieces of chicken that are left in the container or in the pan? These ones. I ate the chocolate cookies yesterday. Specifically the ones that we were planning to save, right? I don't want to go to the movies. All of these are specific. Now, in this one, I don't want to go to the movies. We were probably already talking about maybe going to see the new Marvel movie, right? And then I would be saying those ones, the movies that we were already talking about, I don't want to go to those ones, okay? Again, I just used some other determiners in there, but I don't want to go to the movies. Sam wrote the English tests last week, the specific ones that he wrote. Here we've got all the students, both the students, half the faculty, half the group, the grapes, the drawers. We're talking about specific nouns here, and they're all plural, so we use the. Okay, here's the exceptions. Okay, remember there's always rule breakers. And this one's not really a rule breaker. It just, you have to clarify. Okay, so we said a few slides back that general rule, it was that we use a before words that start with consonants and an before words that begin with vowels. Here's an example though. So in this one, my mother is a honest person. That's incorrect. We have to say my mother is an honest person. Here's because the first letter of the word honor and honest is a consonant, but it's pronounced with the vowel digraph sound. So therefore, we need to use the article an. Okay, the other example I've got here, I've got an earful. Now, this is two vowels, E, A, and R. So we've got the two vowels, so you can automatically say, okay, it's got vowels, it goes before the, or you have to have an. But this one, sometimes people mix up and hear the it's earful. We've still got that double vowel schwa-like sound, okay? Or not schwa-like sound, digraph sound. So I got an earful from Mum when I got home. So also close to this is when the first letter of the word is a vowel, but it sounds like a consonant, we have to use a. Remember, a goes before words that have consonants. So it would be just like if you had spelled it with a consonant. So on this example, she is an United Nations representative is incorrect. The U is a vowel, so you think, oh, I've got to put an in front of it. But it's not giving the vowel sound, okay? It's here, the letter U is actually sounding like the consonant sound for the letter Y. Yeah. Okay? So here, she is a United Nations representative. This bottom one, it's almost covered up here. She is an FBI agent. Now, here's the tricky part. I've put an in there in front of the acronym for Federal Bureau of Investigation in the States. That F is a consonant, but it's not making the F sound, the consonant sound. It's making the eh, the short E sound. We're actually saying the letter, the name of the letter starts with the vowel sound, so it has to have an. All right. I have to read these because this little slideshow thing won't go away. Here's our examples from a couple slides ago. A bottle. So a consonant. B is bottle and B is a consonant and it's a consonant sound. A history book. Okay, here the H is saying the consonant sound. So it is definitely a history book. A UFO, same as United Nations. That U, that vowel U in that word or that acronym is saying the Y, consonant Y sound. Y. A one-time event. One starts with the vowel O, but the sound you hear in that word is the W sound, the consonant W. One. A one-time event. Same thing. A uniform, an apple, a European, an American, a Canadian. Okay. So again, back to my favorite infographic. We learn better when we do. So let's practice. Okay, people learn 90% of what they do. So let's practice. Is this correct or incorrect? If I said this one, and thank you to my students, I'm going to just say thank you to them again. I have to get myself off. Thank you to my students for giving me these sentences. I took them right from my notes, from my class notes. One of my students said the other day, I went to hotel with family. So obviously I corrected that student and said we have to add the determiners here. So I went to the hotel. It's a singular. Hotel is the blue vowel or blue noun here. And it's singular. We have to have a determiner. Now we're talking about the specific hotel my friend and her family went to. So it has to have the. Now I've got my family in pink because this is a different kind of determiner. We'll talk about these another day. These are the pronouns and the possessive determiners because we're specifying it was her family she went with or his family that he went with, not any old family. Okay? Next one. My last trip was trip to Jasper. Okay, so I've got in blue, I've got all of the nouns, right? Singular noun, singular noun, singular name noun. Jasper is the name of a tourist town, a mountain town here in Alberta. Jasper is a place we go to ski or to hike in the mountains or camp, right? So it's a specific name of a specific place. I have to correct my student and say my last trip. Again, this is a different kind of determiner, the pronoun possessive determiner. Last is the adjective, last trip, my last trip. So we're talking about his or her last trip. Was either a trip to Jasper, if we're not saying specifically, but when we specify last trip, generally you're going to say was the trip to Jasper. My last trip was the trip to Jasper. Now remember, names don't necessarily have to have the determiner a or the. We wouldn't say my last trip was the trip to the Jasper. We could say the town of Jasper. But we're not going to say, we'll leave the determiner out there because it's specific. It's already got that name. We started trip together in Banff. Again, we started the trip together in Banff. Banff is another town, another mountain town. Place to go to for staycations if you're Albertan. So we don't need the determiner with that one, but we do with this singular noun trip. We need the trip. We're talking about a specific time that my friend went to Banff. I have been using CIBC Bank for 5 years now. This one is correct. We have the specific name of, now it's a name of a place. It's a name of a bank. But we could also say, I have been using the CIBC Bank for 5 years now. I'm talking about the specific branch in my town. Maybe a little bit more specifically there, right? Next one. I ordered new checkbook 2 weeks ago. So new checkbook is our noun phrase here. Book is the noun. It's not plural. Book means one. So new checkbook 2 weeks ago. We have to say, let's go just to my display only. We have to say, I ordered a new checkbook 2 weeks ago, or I ordered the new checkbook 2 weeks ago. It depends on if you're talking to your bank saying, I haven't got my checkbook, I ordered it 2 weeks ago. It's the new checkbook. I ordered the new checkbook 2 weeks ago. If you're just saying to your friend, yeah, I ordered a new checkbook 2 weeks ago, it's going to be coming. You're not being as specific. And I ordered new checks 2 weeks ago. Checks is your noun. Those are the things we write on to give money or to pay for things. And it is plural. So plural countables, I don't need a determiner for. Okay, let's look at a few of these steps. I think I can come back on here. We'll see. Okay, let's look at a few of these steps that we talked about. Always, always, always listen to English wherever you can. Okay, even podcasts. I don't think I mentioned podcasts last time, but YouTube videos. Listen to native speakers when you can. Tune in to what they're saying, okay? Eavesdrop if you need to. Speak in English every chance you get, okay? One other thing, kind of the next step, I've talked about practice. Okay, practice, practice, practice. Well, let's practice writing some sentences. Some of my students in my speaking classes, even just yesterday, were writing out on paper what they were going to say to answer my question. They were writing out some ideas. There's a little trick you can do. Remember I talked about Grammarly.com and I use that all the time? Well, you can open up, it's a free software, great software. You just download it onto your web browser and open it up, and you could type a sentence into Grammarly and it'll tell you if you're correct or not. It's really quite accurate. Or if you've got school-age kids in junior high school, just have them check it over. They'll know right away. There'll be those native speakers that say, oh, it just sounds right. Right? And if you listen to it more and more and more, you'll get to the point where it just sounds right. Again, another step to take when you're doing all of these is take a speaking class. Or, of course, the teacher's going to say that. Join a discussion. On Facebook right now, you can type in comments and you can join a discussion. You can read those. The only thing is with that, you're not going to get as much feedback as you would in a class or speaking with a native speaker. If they can correct you to say, I went to the bank yesterday, or I read that book too. Unless they can correct you, it's going to be a little bit harder. But extra practice, extra practice, extra practice. Say it lots. So just stay positive. Watch these little videos. Check out others as well. Always just do a little bit at a time. Sometimes we have this little phrase we call baby steps, right? Take baby steps a little bit at a time. So again, my obligatory thank you page, same slides, template, same group. Thank you for making these available for us to use to teach other people. And thanks for joining us again. I've gone over my time again. Next week's videos, I hope to be a little bit shorter. We'll continue with talking about more determiners. We'll get a little bit more specific. So reach out to us, ask questions, check out our website. And thanks again. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.